Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the Cartel Hour, where we do live tastings and discussions of all kinds of spirits with the people who make them, use them, and enjoy them. My name is Cameron Stevens.
And my name is Seth Benheim. Together, we're covering everything from familiar bottles to rare and exclusive releases from near and far away. If it's distilled, it's on the podcast.
Featured in Rolling Stone, GQ, Men's Journal, and more, we bring celebrity guests, master distillers, and industry veterans to chat about the latest in the spirits world. Tequila may have been given to us humans as a result of the quarreling gods, but that doesn't mean its reach hasn't spread far from its origin in Mexico. We talk with the first Hawaiian Tequila brand owner, Les Kekahuna, as well as brand ambassador Andres Garcia, to talk about Embajador Tequila, from generations of family distilling to the intricacies of barrel aging. We're here to learn a little bit and drink a little bit, so grab a glass and let's enjoy. Welcome back to the Infusory for another episode of the Cartel Hour. My name is Cameron Stevens.
And my name is Seth Benheim. And today we are going south of the border
Yep,
again.
we're doing some tequila.
Yes.
I'm super excited for this.
One of my favorite subjects in the spirits world is tequila. And who do we have today?
Well, we've got Andres Garcia and Les Kekahuna. And can you tell us a little bit about yourselves and the tequila that we have in front of us today?
Right on, man. So Embajador Tequila, this is our family line of tequila. We're located up in the highland region of Jalisco, Mexico, in the region called Atotonilco. So the distillery is called Tequila Embajador. So this is the flagship brand that comes out of that distillery. Obviously, there's other brands that come out of the distillery, but this is our family brand
Amazing.
that comes out of there. And so, so we're a small family-owned brand, very diverse in the family. So, that's kind of a little bit of where we're from, and the region that this tequila comes from. And so, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Unless Andres told me that you are possibly the only true Hawaiian that owns a tequila brand or is a part owner of a tequila brand.
That's correct.
That's pretty cool. Tell us, how did you get into tequila? Tell us that story.
Well, my relationship with Andres and me knowing him and him introducing me to everything. And I love culture and I love, genuine people. Because I believe that's what my people are like.
So what was that meeting like? Where did everything start? How long ago?
Probably about going on 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah.
2 years ago, actually, I came down to, I got a call from our distributor down in Vegas that there was a meeting to meet with, it was the restaurant called Border Grill at Mandalay Bay.
Oh yes, that's a very prominent LA institution.
I've eaten at that Border Grill at Mandalay.
Right.
Yeah, so we got so there was a meeting that Les had set up with the general manager and the chef, and they wanted to kind of meet someone, meet the family and stuff. And so I kind of came down. Les picked me up at the airport, and it was funny because at the round time we were getting ready to celebrate my daughter's birthday, and she wanted a luau party. Right?
Okay.
This is before I met Les, and so I had we were looking for like fire dancers and luau dancers, and I had researched. I live in Arizona, so I researched some. I called someone, but I gave them my wife's email and my number, and in the morning I had got this email and to my work email about something. It was like in Hawaiian, like aloha, blah blah blah, right? And I was telling my wife, I was like, man, how did this company get my work email? Right? They're like, how did they get? I give them your email, but they send it to me. But it was actually and I finally read it through, and it was a email from Les. So I was like, oh man. So I kind of, when they picked me up from the airport, I told them the story, and I don't know, we connected from there, and it's kind of been
sort of like
fun.
the law of energy.
Yeah.
There you go.
Now, and
So
Andres, you've also worked in alcohol beverage industry for quite a while now,
yeah.
and you had done some time, I think, on the beer side. If you were I remember you telling me.
Yeah.
Um,
So when I turned 18, my dad got me a summer job working in the breakage room of a Budweiser distributor there in downtown LA.
Okay.
Yeah. So I kind of, it's something I enjoy doing. I was going to school, I was worked in the breakage room and couldn't smell, beer for a while because it was just all that breakage beer and cardboard and it was horrible. But yeah, from there I just kind of worked my way up to like driver helper, then merchandiser, then sales. But I just kind of really enjoyed the industry. I loved I was meeting different people. I was different owners. There was a creativity to it. There was, in those days, it was like the merchandising wars between Budweiser and Miller in LA, and from there, I just kind of really enjoyed the industry and stuff. So, and finally got the really great opportunity to work for Grupo Modelo, the brewery in Mexico, as one of the state representatives here in the U.S.
Awesome.
For me, that was kind of pretty awesome because not only did I get to represent a Mexican beer at the time, but I was always, representing my culture, so that was pretty neat. So yeah, good 20 plus years in the industry. So
Wow.
yeah. So
Amazing.
Now we're doing tequila, so it's just same game, just the players change. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
So tell me then, I mean, because we've got the Blanco in our hands, I'd love to start drinking it. Tell me a little bit about, because people talk a little bit about the different regions, and you're specifically saying, okay, this comes from the Highland area. Can you tell me a little bit about what makes this particular tequila different, and specifically dialing into the Blanco as the base jumping off point for the rest of your line, right? Because I'm assuming ultimately everything else is an aged version of this, right? So this is your lifeblood.
Right, correct. I mean, definitely the Blanco is the true essence of tequila, and anyone's brand is your Blanco is your true essence of your brand. Man, it's a loaded answer, and I'll try to try to wrap it up as so. The Blanco, this is so we have 975 acres of Blue Ever agave, all estate grown agaves there in Atotonilco. So we only use Highland agaves to start. The one key component for me, the difference, I think, at the same time is going to be our water source. Atotonilco is known for their natural spring water. So when you're starting off with clean, crisp water, it definitely is going to make a difference in your end product, right?
Right.
And stuff. So I think that's natural element number one. Natural element number two is going to be the soil, the rich clay soil that's located up in the Highland region. Definitely richer in iron. So, and in that region, it's a lot cooler elevation. The agaves mature at a slower rate, about anywhere from 8 to 10 years. So we definitely give it time, let these agaves really come into their own. And so that's kind of, to me, where it starts with the agave source. From there, that Blanco is, we do a little bit of, the way we cook our agaves too makes a difference. We use both autoclave and brick oven. But it's about a 50-50 split and stuff. And the reason we do that is there's a certain profile that we want, right? Autoclaves will give you a little bit more of the kind of a raw kind of aromas. You get more of the agave, the rawness of agave, the greens of agave. You'll still get a cooked agave, but you still get more of the on the notes. You'll taste some agave, and then the oven will give you a nice roast, give you I don't know, just brings out more of the sugar. So it's kind of like if you ever get a steak, cook it on a grill, right, on a mesquite grill, and you get a steak and you cook it on a propane gas tank, you're still gonna get a good steak, but you're gonna get different flavors.
Right.
100%.
The best can probably describe, the differences in the cooking style. So, but it kind of starts there. And then the Blanco, it's 3 to 5 days, depending on the weather, our fermentation. We do use our own natural proprietary yeast for the agave. So the yeast is derived from its own agave source. So we're not buying commercial yeast or anything like that. So also that's another key element to your end results. Because if you start buying commercial yeast, some brand owners experiment with, bread yeast, or, so you'll get like a buttery kind of a tasty note to it. But definitely, I think these are all a bunch of little elements that I think really lend themselves to the end product, right? So for me, the Blanco, it's a 2 times distilled Blanco. We don't distill anymore because we really want to capture the essence of our flavor of the agave.
Yeah.
Now, the more you distill, obviously the tequila is probably gonna it won't. I don't know. You start losing a little bit more of the flavor of the agave, or maybe it starts to smooth out a little bit more. I don't know. But 2 times is traditional, so we stick to tradition. And with our agaves, I don't think we need to distill any more than that. But the Blanco, I think, because we are not mixing our agaves between the highlands and the lowlands, and sticking to highland agaves, to me, it really comes through, but when now you get into distillation, so our distillation is considered non-continuous distillation, meaning that we're stopping this distillation process, not stopping it, but we're capturing the body of this tequila. So, we obviously you guys have heard of heads and body.
And tails,
Yep.
So definitely we're cutting at the right points to really capture the heart and the flavor of our tequila. For us, the real thing is about tequila having flavor and really capturing the essence of that region. There's a word I never use, like I'd never, something I don't never describe our tequila as, because I never say that our tequila is like smooth or the best, right? I really stay away from words like that, because for us, it's really making a tequila that's approachable, that you're going to find flavors. You're going to find the flavor of the region, of the Atotonilco region. And that's what we wanted to, as a family, say, you know what, when you taste Embajador, you're going to taste what that region represents.
Yeah. Maybe the word instead of smooth might be robust. And there is a very intense level of flavor and depth that I'm getting. Really, it starts at the mouthfeel. And this is something, when you're talking about Blanco tequila, you're dealing with a different set of influences. So a lot of times I draw comparisons to what might make a whiskey taste a certain way, be it a mash bill or a type of oak, or a different state where it's distilled. But when you're talking about tequila, it really boils down, because they're all made from 100% Blue Weber agave. They're all distilled in one of 4 or 5 regions. Is it 4 or 5?
5.
5 regions of tequila in Jalisco. And with the Blanco, there's no barrel influence. So you're really boiling it down to the age of the agave, the water source, the types of distillation equipment, the types of cooking on the plants. I mean, you really are breaking it down to a few fundamental inputs that are going to yield either a very good or not so good tequila. And when you're dealing with that very finite amount of influence to make something taste, call it a down to an F in like a grading scale, you really have to get everything right. You can't have.
There's nowhere to hide.
You can't have bad water. Great, everything has to be really good for it to be good, and you have to kind of get it right.
Yeah, absolutely.
One question I have, and I never asked this on a tequila episode before, but we never really talked about the differences between Highland tequila and like a lowland tequila, or the regional thing. Just so somebody who has never had or is maybe going to go out and try Embajador and get into it, if you were going to give them a comparison, say, okay, and I'm not saying they're like you, but what is another very popular 100% Highland tequila that would give somebody a point of reference that they might know of if they haven't discovered Embajador?
Well, my second favorite brand is going to be Siete Leguas.
Siete Leguas. Okay. And that's great. Actually, we just had Bond and Royal and Sazerac on the show recently. So I know that's one of their brands.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, that's another one. I'm a big fan of that brand.
As am I.
I know Mexico is very proud of that brand. So and I haven't had it in a while, but I'm a I'm really enjoying this Blanco. So let's get into this for a second. Cam, what are your thoughts so far?
Well, instantaneously, it's fantastic mouthfeel to me. It's a little, it's oily. It lingers. It's a little bit fluffy almost, which is excellent. I really love a Blanco that does not fall off the palate because, that's the thing is like you can get body out of barrel aging, but everything is right in here without any extra steps. And to be able to get good body on a Blanco, I mean, that's one of the main things I look for. I find this one interesting because it's a combination. It's not super bright and zesty.
No.
To me, I actually really love the sort of vegetal agave flavors that I get.
The roast. It's got roasted flavors. I almost think of like roasted vegetables.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I get a lot of that. Like a roasted vegetable flavored marshmallow. I know that doesn't sound good, but the mouthfeel is very coating and very cloud-like and almost oily in a way.
And it's also a little earthy as well, which I like because I think most Blancos are going to tend in one direction or the other. They're going to be either really bright and fruity or they're going to be a little bit earthier. And this definitely tends earthy for me, which I think really supports that sort of agave vegetal flavor. I mean, I like tequila. I want to taste the agave, and I get that here, and I think that's exactly what I'm looking for. You never want the spirit of what's being made here to be completely lost.
And it's got that medium finish too. It's not crazy long, nor am I really expecting it to be, but it's also not one of those ones that falls off. I think you said it perfectly, Cam.
Yeah, it's quite good. It's a fantastic starting point. I actually haven't had any of these yet. So I know that if we've hit a spot where I'm like, ooh, that Blanco is not very good, I'm not necessarily excited for everything else. And call me excited for the rest of the line. How about that?
No, definitely. Our distillery is also surrounded with a lot of citrus trees. There's a orange grove down the road. So, because on my mouthfeel, every time with this Blanco, I always get this like almost citrus notes. Like almost like if you ever bit into like a orange peel, you get that orangey kind of.
I get a little bit of like orange rind.
Yeah, it's more.
To me, it's not like bright lemony or bright lime or anything like that. It's sort of a more like a ever so slightly bitter orange peel if we're going to go in that category. So yeah, I can agree with you.
So I always get that, and I always get towards the end finish those kind of herbal, like the mints to anywhere. People pick up anywhere from like an anise to almost like a cinnamon like.
Anise, I get 100%. I get that.
Yeah, no cinnamon for me. But
I've had lemony. I usually get the anise on añejos.
Right.
I've now had so many añejos, and I go. Anise, licorice. Like I keep getting that from these añejos that I've been trying lately. I think the orange rind is slightly there on the forward when you first try it, but man, I'm if I'm gonna grade this, I'm gonna give this like a really high B+.
I'll agree
in the sense that I would drink this neat often and slowly sip on this, which is generally not the case for most Blancos, especially most of like commercial ones. And the crazy part is that this is under $50.
Correct.
And for those watching
that ain't shabby, because you can definitely sip this, or you're going to make a fantastic cocktail if you'd like to too.
Look at this bottle.
But it does not need to be into a cocktail either.
Look at this bottle. I mean, hold this bottle. I mean, this thing has got a solid like.
It's substantial. It's heavy.
The bottom, for those that don't know, when you see that solid glass on the bottom of a bottle, of a glass bottle, that's called the flint. And this has a solid inch of flint. Clearly a custom bottle, custom cork.
I mean, it's going to look great on a shelf.
Yeah.
It's going to look great.
Now, here's one critique. I know you're changing this, so you don't need to hear it from me. But the corks seem to pop a little bit out, and I will make that distinction. But you already told me that you guys are undergoing a big packaging rebranding, which makes me feel special that we now have this beautiful box set of all three
I'm
750
gonna mess this
ml.
up.
I think you got
Spot me. There we go.
Sorry, we're messing around. It's like this open close solid wooden case, and I
And
think
it's gorgeous.
I swear to God, I've carried 6 packs of vodka of 750s that weighed less than this 3-pack. It's super solid. It's crazy how
Which is not a critique. I mean, maybe if someone's pouring it at a bar, the bartenders might be like, "Well, it's a lot heavier." But like if you're at your home bar and you're this is something that I don't know. There's just something nice about the weight
you
of
set
picking up the
this-
bottle.
You set this down on a table, and people are gonna go, "Oh shit, what is
Oh,
that?"
he brought the
Like,
good stuff.
You brought up the good stuff. It has that presence. So I'm a packaging guy through and through. I'm super impressed with the bottle choice. I like the look and the design. I was a little like, oh, this cork seems to be popping off. I don't know if that's like a synthetic rubber versus cork thing, but
Well, yeah, we started off with cork, and you go through growing pains, right? And
yeah,
so,
yeah.
We started off with cork, and that was kind of the Blanco was kind of tainting it, and it was coming apart.
Yeah,
So-
it can
and so-
happen.
Yeah, and then we went to a rubber cork, and what was happening is when it's not properly, I guess what's the word, like
Flush.
lubricated, or if it's too dry, people tend to want to twist to open, and that's when like it was coming apart, right?
Yeah.
And we went to like a more synthetic, which kind of helped the situation, but people still tend to want to twist to open. With these bottles are kind of more like a pop,
Yeah.
like a back and forth pop. But it was one of those issues that we're just like, you know what, it's just, and we love the bottle, but man, what's coming, you guys are gonna, if you love packaging, you're gonna love this new fresh new look for us,
So when is the new package expected to drop?
2021 March.
Oh, sweet. Okay, so
Yeah.
we'll have to get some pictures.
Yeah.
and
Send us some
post that.
marketing material or photos or what have you
we'll have
from
to
the new.
hit you up and post that. We're gonna move from here on to the reposado.
Yes, indeed. So I'd love to hear a little bit about, because we touched on the cooking methods, right? I'd love to hear exactly how you're blending the two, whether it's doing it separately and combining them, or if it's like a 2-step process. And then obviously, since we're getting into the reposado, talk to us a little bit about your barrel aging process.
So we have 2 types of barrels at the distillery. We have Jack Daniel barrels and Maker's Mark bourbon barrels.
Oh wow.
So,
Awesome.
So the idea here was to create blends, obviously. So our reposado is double barreled aged for 8 months in both the Jack Daniel barrels and the Maker's Mark bourbon barrels. But the reposado, this one is about 70% Jack Daniel barrel and 30% Maker's Mark bourbon barrel. And what happens is, like, they both sit in those barrels for the 8 months. But when it's time to bottle, we get about 70% of the Jack Daniel barrels and 30% of the Maker's Mark barrel juice. And we put it in these big tanks that when we go to bottle it, that's how the blend happens. That's how the percentage is. It's not like it sits in one barrel and then we take it out and put it in the other barrel. No, they both sit in there for 8 months. And then that's when we go to bottle it. We just pour 70% of Jack Daniel barrel juice in the tank and about 30% juice of the bourbon juice in there. And that's kind of our blends at the, how I can explain it, the simplest form.
Do you find that you like when you've tasted from the barrel, which I'm sure you have, that you like the Jack Daniels better than the Maker's Mark?
Is that why there's a
own?
bigger percentage?
You know what? We wanted to have, obviously we wanted to have a little bit of a difference, right? From little brother to big brother. We wanted to bring out certain characteristics about a reposado. We didn't want it to be over, because the reposados are definitely the most difficult to blend, right? You don't want it too oaky. You don't want it too much on the añejo side, but you also don't want it to lack the oak flavor, So for us, 8 months was kind of a sweet spot. And so we found that that sweet spot had enough of the oak, but not too much, where you still had a little bit of the oakiness to it, but and you found some of the maple and the some of those tones, but it wasn't overpowering what you found in the Blanco.
Got it.
Well, that makes sense.
Getting a little popcorn.
Yeah.
That's a new one for tequila
Interesting.
that I'm getting.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this is very vanilla. It's very, it's a little buttery.
Yeah, maybe that's the butter.
Almost white wine vinous, for me, too.
Do you get the whiskey on the nose? I get it on the nose. I get the whiskey nose.
Yeah, I mean, 8 months is enough time that it should definitely kind of come through and shine.
Very healthy. I mean, we've had 2 and 3 month old repos on the show.
Seth, I know you're a big Reposado fan. I know you have a lot to say on this one. So tell me what your thoughts are.
I like the choice of using the Tennessee and the Kentucky whiskey barrels. I like that you've methodically figured out a blend that works for the two. I get the whiskey on the nose. I think that there's still a pleasant amount of agave, but this it really has that life to it that I like in a Reposado. It still has that roasted vegetable earthy note from the last one.
Right.
It clearly is a progression from Blanco to Reposado that draws enough similarity. I can tell these are the same tequilas, especially having tried them back to back. Now, if you blind tasted me later on, I would probably never know. But right now, I can taste that through line having them side by side. And that's not always true of...
No, sometimes the repos vary wildly.
Barrels,
and you're like, where did this even go?
Yeah, barrels
this is related, and I like their relation.
Yeah.
I'm with you. There's a lot of vanilla on this for me. That's going to be a good thing for some people, and some people might find it a little bit overpowering. I do think that there is a nice barrel characteristic that sits in the background. My only complaint is I do while I do get the earthiness from the Blanco, I'm missing that bright agave shining through. And that's the only thing that I can kind of knock against this. Otherwise, it's also quite good. I'm just going to happen to say that I enjoyed the Blanco a lot, and it's my preference of the two.
We generally differ here.
This is usually where Seth and I diverge.
He's often chosen the Blanco over the Repo, and I've often chosen the Repo over the Blanco. And I do have a disposition for barrels and barrel aging and double barreled whiskeys, and I'm more of that train of thought. That's kind of where I go. So I like this equally as much. I would give it the same grade as the Blanco in that high B+. I'm right there. These are both two very. I mean, the finish. I'm still. I'm still tasting it.
It's a great finish.
I have to.
I would expect it to be just as good as the other, though.
It is,
considering you get that extra barrel.
You don't lose. You don't have a finish that is impacted negatively by the barrel aging.
Right.
Sometimes that can happen.
Yeah.
So I like this a lot. I'm a fan. I like
Fantastic. Well, I would love to know from you guys, because we had a short break and you made a cocktail. Tell us what you made and what's in it, and what do you got?
This was kind of our since the Raiders are now the Las Vegas Raiders, we decided to do a little cocktail called the Silver and Black.
Yeah.
So
okay.
It's primarily here in Vegas, this drink.
Yeah. So silver, kind of going off the as your description of your Blancos, people call them Blanco, silver, platinum, right? So it's kind of using our Blanco tequila, has just a little bit of lime juice, and it's rimmed with a Tahitian vanilla.
Tahitian vanilla.
Salt, it's like a sweet salt and stuff. So giving a little bit of our
it's a little different,
Polynesian ownership touch.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I want one of those.
Yeah, Les, is this like your drink of choice, or is this something you guys have kind of just came up with recently and now it's shot to the top?
No, yeah. Well, Andres came up with this drink.
Oh, okay.
It was his creation. This one was more my creation. Well, his and mine. And so this one has passion fruit in it. And in Hawaii, passion fruit is big. You know, it's called lilikoi. We call it lilikoi. So it was inspired by what I grew up with and whatnot, and so we call this one Lila's passion, and that's the name of my wife. So her name is Lila.
Oh,
I like
that's
that.
nice.
Yeah. Well,
Nice.
as we kind of get into the last one here, maybe we can talk a little bit about tequila and cocktails. And I'd be interested to hear what your guys' opinions are, you know, because I think some people have, in my opinion, an erroneous view that tequila is only for cocktails. You know, it's only for margaritas and the like. But I think that there's so much, you know, so many new brands that are coming to the market in such an authentic way that consumers, luckily, are getting such a wide range of tequilas that can be sipped all the way to made into cocktails. So how do you view Embajador on that scale?
Great question. I think definitely we crafted Embajador Tequila to be definitely something that you can enjoy on its own. I think it holds its own really well as far as the flavors, finding, you know, that you can drink this neat. You know, even from your Blanco to down to your Repo to Anejo, I think you can really enjoy it. It's very approachable. And that's something that we wanted to first and foremost create a brand that you can enjoy the flavors, that you didn't have to marry it with any kind of, it wasn't made, the idea wasn't made for it to be in cocktails, right? It was really made to show the quality of our product, to be a distinguished brand, and just to do things right at the distillery and to produce a good craft tequila, and give the spirit its time and honor its time of how we make it. But at the same time, you know, and this is me more my background in sales and working in the industry, we do understand that a lot of people do come to the category to tequila through cocktails, right? There's, you know,
Or shots.
Yeah.
you know,
Hopefully we're moving away from that and at least
right.
just starting with the cocktails.
Yeah. And so for us, it was never really, you know, you'll never find us, you know, talking about shots or showcase our tequila in shot glasses or, you know, with a lime or anything like that. It's just, I don't think you need it, you know, because then, you know, just, you know, you kind of miss the point when you're taking shots, you know, taking shots straight to the liver. It just, you miss the whole point of tequila, right? It's just, you know, and so, but like I said, we understand that people do enjoy their cocktails. So, you know, I kind of take something from Papa John's. It's like, you know, you better ingredients, better pizza, right? Or something like that. And then, so if you use, you know, you can make some really well cocktails, using some really, you know, good juice, and knowing what's in your juice, knowing what's in your tequila. If you're using a good base tequila, you're going to have some really, really, really good cocktails, right? It's like,
Yeah.
you find that they marry well, and not every tequila marries well with every concoction, so to speak, you know, because
Right.
you know, when growing up when I was 21, I used to love drinking, you know, squirt and tequila, you know, it was a big thing, and the one I used to love to mix it with was it was squirt and quarreling, right? Quarreling.
Okay.
And so, you know, my ignorant self was like, when I, you know, joined the family, I was like, oh, I'm gonna put this with squirt, you know, and I used the reposado, and it was horrible. I was like, oh, this is horrible. Like, it just did not marry well, you know. And so, you know, from there, it kind of took on using fresh ingredients, which was the best. You know, finding just fresh fruits. You know, staying away from the syrups as much as you can, but using just fresh ingredients, fresh foods, just using fresh. It just really makes these cocktails really stand out, you know. So I think finding a good bartender or mixologist that really knows his craft, knows, like a liquid chef in a sense, knows the spirit, knows the taste of your tequila, and he can marry it with certain ingredients, right? So,
Yeah.
so yeah, definitely we try to work with, you know, certain bartenders or mixologists here, and who are at that level of craftness, you know, and not just put, you know, I don't know, just syrups and premixes and stuff like that. And so that's kind of, you know, especially bars, right, in restaurants, people go out for cocktails. You know, it's rare that you see that they go out for, you know, to drink tequila neat, you know, unless you're at a specific tequila bar or or you're ordering a flight. But for the most part, the on-premise is definitely about cocktails and finding that right cocktail for that place.
Yeah,
So,
I think if you bring these bottles home, though, you would have a hard time, even by yourself, thinking, man, I'm going to take this beautiful, gorgeous bottle and I'm going to pump it full of sugar and ice and blend it up and add all this shit to it to make it something so far derived from the craftsmanship that is inherent with just looking at the packaging. I think
Right.
what you've done on the package is really indicative of how it is meant to be drank. And I think, the choice to put it in what is clearly a very heavy, very display-oriented bottle is that this is meant to be drank a certain way. And you've done that through the implication of what's the packaging is. And so,
Yeah. And just speaking to this particular tequila in a cocktail, I mean, we've commented specifically on just how great the body is. I think it's an underappreciated aspect of cocktails as a whole. The people that are creating great cocktails are ones that are rich and full-bodied. And you have to have a base spirit that complements that. And so I do feel as though, we've both been sipping this neat. We've both talked about how it certainly can be enjoyed that way. But you can make fantastic cocktails with these as well. Now, Seth, you and I have jumped into the Anejo.
Yes, we are on the Anejo. So tell us a little bit about the age, if there's a difference in the barrel choices or all of that. Walk us through this Anejo, guys.
Yeah, so our Anejo, this is also double barreled aged, same type of barrels, the Jack Daniel barrels and the Maker's Mark bourbon. But now here we're flipping it. Now we're about 70%, let's just say, about the Maker's Mark bourbon barrels and 30% Jack. And so we did this typically because we did want it to, change. We wanted to give it different characteristics. These are all secondhand used barrels. This one particularly, I think our barrels, we were probably right around our fourth kind of fill and stuff. So I know with our whole new packaging, we got new barrels and stuff. So we're going to have a whole different mouthfeel, right? And so, but with this particular one, you do get more of that wet wood. I always get this kind of wet wood. There's some of the, I get more of the bourbon flavor of it.
Very much so.
Bourbon and stuff. So,
how long is it in the barrel?
18 months.
18 months. 18 months on
so
the
yeah,
Anejo.
because on this one, this is chock full of some fantastic barrel characteristic that I like. I felt whatever vanilla characteristic that I got from the Reposado that was a little bit one note for me has been incredibly well rounded out. I really like the baking spices that are in this. I definitely get cinnamon, cardamom, a little bit of orange. I get the, crazily enough, I get the base agave coming back in full force. I feel like this is a nice balance between some barrel aging and that base agave. I really like this.
Yeah, and I get the anise finally that you're talking about that I usually get in Anejo, but it's very subtle. It's very, sort of the undercurrent of flavors. It's not hit you over the head, like licorice anise flavor. And I don't know what it is about that extra year plus that starts to delve into that category of flavor. But, guys, my question is on the fills, I don't know the answer to this. What is the common number of fill and refill you guys have on a barrel? So you get a barrel in, they come off the truck. How many times are they getting filled or used for each repo and añejo?
My understanding, talking to the family, it's, you don't want to use it more than 5 times before it starts losing its, I guess it's flavor. I mean, you can re-caramelize them and try, but rechar them and stuff. And so, but five times is, for us is about the max before you get in the barrels.
I'm curious to know, and not just for you guys, but this is more of a general practice. What's common Or is every distillery, kind of like what we understood from mezcal, and talking to an expert on mezcal, the something that's kind of common. It's different here in America, but when you go down to Mexico, you get into this situation where my way is right and everyone else is wrong, and my way is right and everyone else is wrong, and so you don't have any sort of commonalities in some ways, because people are just infinite levels of experimentation and
and they're all doing stuff
heritage.
that's been passed down through families after families after families. I mean, I think there's such a rich history of tequila in Mexico. And so, yeah, by that point in time, everybody's kind of developed their own little tips and tricks along the way, I would suppose.
Yeah,
absolutely. I think you just try to find something that distinguishes your brand from everyone else's, and for the most part, that's what, we wanted to craft a brand that as you get down to the Reposado, you get down to the Anejo, that you didn't lose what you found in the Blanco. That was, our point in crafting it, that you never want to lose what you have in that Blanco. You want to be able to find it and distinguish it and say, hey, you know what? Oh, this is still Embajador. This was our whole point in crafting it, and I think, to your testament, it's kind of what we have really aimed for, never losing what we have in our Blanco.
That's what you've done. You're still Embajador from the first to the last bottle.
Yeah.
You haven't gotten to a point where your barrels have started to cause any sort of deviation from the original spirit. That I like, and it really speaks to the brand. Now, guys, the name Embajador, we didn't really get into that. Explain the name Embajador.
So Embajador translates to ambassador.
Mm-hmm.
So we consider, it's a nice name that, I think it crosses culture. I know it's, maybe at the first time it's hard to pronounce, but, I always tell people it's like the E is silent. So it's like M, and then like Baja, California, Baja, and then like a door, right? And from there, they're like, oh, Embajador. Yeah, you get it, So it translates to ambassador. And, the I symbol there that you see on the bottle, that's actually my grandfather's branding iron that was developed in the late 1930s. That was, for his cattle and stuff. So it's
interesting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And
Wait, does the farm have cattle on it too, in addition to the agave?
Not anymore. Now we have horses.
Okay, fair enough.
And this symbol on the back, it almost looks like who is this character?
I assume some type of deity or
she is the goddess associated with the agave plant. So the myth, every culture has their stories of, so the kind of where she died is, the myth goes, where she died is where the maguey plant grew. And so there's a whole story behind it. It's on our box, but, she was accidentally killed by her grandmother, Tzitzimil, because Quetzalcoatl had flown up to the heavens to confront Tzitzimil because of all the darkness that was happening here on earth. And so when Quetzalcoatl took her Mayahuel from the heavens, her grandmother was mad, right? And she was trying to find them. And so she sent the stars looking for them. And knowing that they could not outrun the stars, Mayahuel and Quetzalcoatl decided to become trees. And the idea was to grow right next to each other, so when the wind blew, they can brush up against each other. So when the stars kind of found out, the grandmother sent this bolt of lightning to try to kill Quetzalcoatl, but ended up killing her granddaughter. And so the other gods here on earth felt sorry for Quetzalcoatl, and so from where she died is they had this maguey plant grow so that the fermented sap afterward would comfort his soul.
Wow,
so
that's an amazing story.
And so that's why our tequilas are made to comfort your soul.
Wow.
I love the thought that goes into
don't throw lightning bolts at your grandchildren.
Yeah,
how about
that's
that?
What I was going to say.
Or do, because then you give the world what eventually becomes tequila. I don't know.
It's nice to know there's actually a tremendous amount of thought. People sometimes put packages together and they just throw things on there that look good. But you guys have clearly brought. I see that a lot with tequila too. There's
so much history. Everyone's really thought going into it.
Symbolism that goes into these packages, and these different things mean a certain amount. Is the shape of the cork, is that anything special about that? That it's a sort of trapezoidal, inverted or like pyramid, like almost cylindrical pyramid for those that can't see on the podcast version of this.
We'll take that explanation. Yeah, for sure.
That's a good one, Seth.
It's a cylindrical pyramid.
I think it just, honestly, maybe it's just the one that looked the best. I know it was, I'm not sure.
Fair enough.
We'll take your explanation though. I like it.
Any plans for Cristalino in the family?
No,
plans.
we're not as far as we know. I know we have Embajador Jalisciense coming out, which is just to be a Blanco Reposado, a little bit of a low, I don't want to say more of an economical brand, kind of in the $30-$35 range.
Sure.
And then we are coming out, we'll have our extra añejo line, which we just saw the whole bottle and label, and Les and I were just like, man, if you think these bottles are impressive, we don't even want to sell this anymore. We're like, can we get these other bottles? Because we were just that. I think this new label just connects generations. It connects. I don't know. It's just something about this new label that we're just like, well, I mean, don't get me wrong. We love this bottle. And we like, and we hate to see it go, but
well, it's going to go down in history as like, a vintage piece. It's round, round one.
Yeah, go online and go to caskcartel.com and try to find yourself one of these original bottles, because they're going to be fleeting and discontinued. So, and
that always makes it a little bit more desirable at a certain point.
Certainly happy to have the first versions. I think these are really fun bottles that have a lot of shelf appeal. Like when you put this down on a table, it will make a statement from a packaging standpoint. And I can only imagine what you're coming out with will be even more beautiful. So
please send when you have stuff.
Yes, we'd love to do a part 2. Guys, this is a really, really interesting line of tequila. We really appreciate you taking the time to sit down, drink with us, talk with us, and join us on the Cartel Hour. And we look forward to seeing what's next for Embajador.
Absolutely. Any parting words that you want to leave people with?
Sip responsibly.
Hey, I can appreciate that.
There you go. Definitely, try them neat. Enjoy your tequilas neat. Always start off from your blancos up on over to your añejos. But yeah, definitely, just enjoy your tequilas neat as often as you can. And then there's a lot of great brands out there. There's a very diverse set of profiles, and like you said, find the one that you like. Get to really know the highlands and the lowland and what the differences are, and then because most people will be surprised that their palate really enjoys a highland as opposed to a lowland, and I think that's kind of the education part that us as a family we start to implement, as far as letting people know there is a difference between the highlands and the lowlands. And
I'm learning. I think that's what I like. I like Speyside Scotch. I love Speyside Scotch, and I think I'm finding, because I do like Siete Leguas and I do like this stuff, and maybe I am more prone to liking it's all about the plants and the soil with tequila.
Absolutely.
I'm liking the highlands.
Well, Andres, Les, thanks for coming on. Cheers, guys.
Take care, guys.
I really appreciate everything.
Absolutely.
Cheers.
Hello everyone, Cameron and Seth here. Just a few more things before we wrap up. First, you can always head on over to cartelhour.com for the show notes, which will include links to all the spirits mentioned and, of course, consumed on the podcast.
Absolutely. If you're interested in purchasing any of the spirits mentioned on the podcast, go ahead and click any of the links to be taken directly to those spirits, or visit caskcartel.com. They are America's largest online premium spirits marketplace and have been featured in Rolling Stones magazine, Men's Journal, The Wall Street Journal, Forbes, MarketWatch, and many others.
Yeah, they are awesome and super mobile friendly too. They're a fantastic resource to search through different types of spirits, and their platform is easy and straightforward. If you don't love driving around to every single liquor store in town and hoping they have what you're looking for, Cask Cartel is certainly the best e-commerce spirits platform I've personally come across.
Couldn't agree more. And you can find them on social media at Cask Cartel, and you can find us at Cartel Hour for the podcast, where you can find information about upcoming episodes and live tastings at the Infusery.
And speaking of those live tastings, for those living in or visiting the Los Angeles area that are truly intrigued, if you want to drink along with us, we would love to have you come and enjoy an evening at the Infusery to drink through a carefully selected assortment of spirits.
We offer custom flights and have a robust library of over 700 spirits to choose from. Visit our website for more information on how to become a member of the Cartel Club.
And if you're a spirits brand that would like to be featured on the podcast, please email us or send us a direct message on Instagram.
Thank you everyone for listening, and remember to always drink responsibly
And in good company.